Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down Trayveon Henderson's Week 10 explosion. Now, to preface this, I was one of the people that was hyping him up tremendously. He graded out as my RB2 of the class pre-draft and post-draft. I thought that you could use him like a Jahmyr Gibbs. Not that he is Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs brings an unrivaled level of shiftiness and explosion. Well, I think that he's more explosive than Bijan, but Bijan's arguably shiftier. But nonetheless, he's not really that type of player, but he is very explosive. And I thought that, if you used him like a Kamara back in the day, like a Jahmyr Gibbs, or you give him 10 to 15 carries and hopefully, 3 to 6, receptions a game, you're going to get basically the same output for us in fantasy, right? Or even for real life, even if he gets it done a little bit differently than somebody like Jahmyr Gibbs. Well, after the preseason, I was hyping him up tremendously. We saw that kickoff return touchdown. We saw that creative run where he was running. I believe it was left guard in the preseason for a touchdown. He looked decent in the receiving game as well. Unfortunately, Vrabel, it appears, and I think this is true historically, likes to bring along his rookies slowly. We haven't really seen much from Kyle Williams until this week either. We saw both of them. So I'll definitely take ownership of that. I was one of those people that was really, really hyping him up. But I think that we are finally going to get more of this from Trayveon Henderson. I think he's forced his hand. Sure, it was due to injuries to basically everybody else imaginable to get this to happen. But all he can really do is deliver with the touches in which he's getting. And the last couple of weeks, we've really seen him used more effectively in the sense of not straight up the middle where the run blocking is below league worst. Using him outside, get him in space, use him on those pitches, right? Use him on screens. Just get this man the ball in space. And this week, we got to see what a dose of that looks like, and he delivered. Now, another thing I want to mention is he is not your typical 3-down workhorse back. He can be a 3-down back, but you typically just don't want to give him the workhorse kind of a load, right? But as far as his athleticism, it's awesome. Make no mistake, he might not be the shiftiest east to west guy, but he is explosive. His 4.43 40-yard dash time is 92nd percentile. Height and weight adjusted, that's a 104.9 speed score, which is 81st percentile. And then his 129.5 burst score, which is his vertical and broad jump, is 91st percentile. So make no mistake, while he is not the best east to west, shifty, juke you out of your shoes type of player, he is extremely explosive. Now, given his height and weight, he's 5'10", 202 pounds. He may have bulked up a little bit, but at the time of the combine, that's what he weighed. That would give him a 29.0 BMI. That is below the 30.0 threshold that we typically want for bell cow backs. Now, if at Ohio State, he had a tremendous true freshman season where he was the do-it-all workhorse, but he kind of struggled with injuries, and he's just not the kind of guy that, the frame at least, that you kind of want based on his injury history to just get all these crazy high workloads in the middle. It's just not a good idea. Get this man the ball in space. He's explosive. We saw it time and time again. If you just look up some Trayveon Henderson college highlights, you're going to see him with the ball in space, and nobody's touching this guy in the open field. And that's why he deservedly so was selected with the 6th pick in the 2nd round, 38th overall by the New England Patriots. Now, I'm making this video early Monday morning, so the PFF and Player Profile are a couple of sites in which I use for some advanced stats. They, at this current moment in time, do not have updated stats for Henderson and the team for Week 10. So a lot of these numbers are pre-Week 10, but I think it still gives a good example of how effective he's been. And I think I'm going to add some context to some of these numbers here, and then we'll break down the film and we'll see what I'm talking about. So in terms of how he's utilized in the passing game, he hasn't received consistent volume there, but he's been good with the volume in which he's been given. His 6.6 yards per reception are 26th among running backs. That's not otherworldly, but that's fine. But his yards per out run of 1.30 is 15th among running backs. That is a solid number, along with an 83.3% catch rate. That's 13th. That is good. So he's converting the targets in which he is receiving into receptions and yardage and being efficient on a per route basis. And once again, making the most of the actual targets. That's how you get more volume, is being efficient with the volume in which you're given, right? Now, his target share of 9.7% is 21st among running backs. But to be fair, I mean, he's barely been used at points this season. So that is not a bad number in any way, shape, or form. And I do think that has a chance to go up. He has 101 total routes run, which is 29th among running backs. Once again, he's just not getting the consistent playing time, or at least until the past couple of weeks hadn't been. His 34.7% route participation is 40th as well. He's been used in pass protection as well to a degree, so which is good because, it keeps him on the field. And contrary to popular belief, one bad game in which, everybody craps on him and piles on him does not mean that he was previously bad at pass protection or that he's going to be bad in the future. You can grow as a player. Players get better. Taking a look at his true yards per carry, which takes away runs of 10 plus yards. So this should theoretically hurt him because he's such an explosive runner, right? While his 4.1 ranked 33rd in the NFL. That is not a particularly great number. His yards per touch of 4.8 are 24th, and his juke rate of 18.4% is 36th. So all three of those numbers, once again, these are pre-week 10, are not particularly great, right? But I want to add some context to those numbers because if you don't, you might think that he's just the worst running back that's ever lived. Well, New England's 25th overall run block ranking of 56.2 is terrible. There was a stat a couple weeks ago where the Patriots had a negative EPA, or expected points added, running the ball literally anywhere except directly behind their fourth overall pick, Will Campbell. That's how bad the run blocking is. There's nothing that he can do sometimes. And so you add that in with Henderson isn't necessarily the best gap runner. He's more, you want him outside, right? Where he can once again get into space and take advantage of his incredible burst and acceleration and long speed, I might add too. So keep that in mind. We're going to watch some film here, and we're going to deduce why at times we think he's been ineffective, how he's been effective, and how he can continue to be effective in this New England offense. And I want to give a special shout out to my Patreon members. Thank you to Big Hunt, SP, Mage Jack, Infamy MTG, AOYOB, and The Dawn. Without your support, this would not be possible. As you're probably well aware, if you've been watching my videos for a while, I cannot get monetized because of the film breakdowns I do, and even just the little videos I have where I have clips of plays in them. They get demonetized every single time, making it, therefore, impossible to collect any revenue. So, obviously, your support is greatly appreciated. And if you are so inclined to become a member, the perks would be you will get access to a private Discord where we have both a real life and fantasy football chat, as well as a voice chat if you just don't want to have to type a bunch of stuff. I'll also give you detailed roster breakdowns and roster reviews where we talk about the strengths and weaknesses of your team. Then we kind of break it down further by looking into the scoring settings themselves and the starting lineup requirements to help you build the best team to help you dominate for years to come. In both Dynasty and then in Redraft, obviously, I'd help you with a good, solid game plan, especially if you know where you're drafting from. Then also give you detailed trade advice based on your specific league settings to help you dominate. Also give you access to private live streams and the ability to not only see videos at least one day early, but also the ability to suggest videos that you would like to be created. So if you would like to support the channel, I would really appreciate it. If not, just please like and subscribe. Let's get back to the video. All right, so taking a look at Henderson's first run I'm going to show you here, it's going to be a pitch to the right. What we're going to get in terms of the blocking is, first of all, Diggs is going to go in motion before attacking this outside corner. Then you're going to get Hunter Henry helping seal the edge along with the right guard. You're going to get the right tackle out in space as well to try to lead the way. And then you're going to get your left guard and left tackle attempt to get down the field here as well to provide a space for Trayveon Henderson. So on this run, I want you to pay attention to, first of all, his explosiveness, his speed, acceleration, but also the vision and the patience to help set this up for him. And so you're going to see the Diggs motion. Now, first thing, very good seal here by Hunter Henry, the tight end. And then you're going to get your right tackle once again moving up into the second level. Henderson's going to push him ahead to let him know he's behind him to help seal the way. Still, Really good blocking here. This is Kyle Williams blocking number 8 here, along with help from the lineman. And you're going to see a hole pop up here, and watch what Henderson does. Good vision. Bam. Now he's just a fraction of a second from popping this for probably another touchdown. He had 2 on the day already. But this is the explosiveness of TreVeyon Henderson and why it's a good idea to get him in space. He's generally better on outside runs than inside runs. You know, he just doesn't have a ginormous body or anything, big frame to be able to power through people, you know, to the same degree as somebody like, you know, Derrick Henry. But nonetheless, still very encouraging to see that they're utilizing him in ways that will help him help them. All right, so on TreVeyon Henderson's second run, they're going to run duo here. What you're going to get is this right tackle taking care of this guy. You're going to get a double team here and a double team here, and then they're going to look to attack the second level if they can be successful with those double team blocks, right? Theoretically, Henderson could have a whole A gap. He could have a hole on either B gap, just depending on, you know, the blocking and how the defense attacks him. But this is an example of, I don't know what you want him to do here, guys. I understand, you know, he's not the most powerful runner, but what do you really want him to do? So right off the bat, you get your 2 double team blocks here, right? And you're going to get your tackle taking out this guy. So theoretically, you should have 2 guys working to the second level here to take care of these linebackers, right? He has not gotten the ball yet. Now, as soon as he touches the football, what do we really want him to do? 54 David here is taking care of this edge. There is no hole up the middle. And 35 has this edge contained as well. There is just nothing for him to do here. So while if you're just looking at stats, you might say, oh, he has no yardage on this play, right? There's really just nothing for him to do. So what does he do? He at least gets back to the line of scrimmage so that he at least, you know, doesn't lose them yardage. But this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about when I say that the line is just not very good. And while, yes, he doesn't have the best patience, or at least he hasn't displayed it at times so far this season, and he just doesn't have the biggest body to be able to, you know, bruise up the middle of the field, there's just really nothing for him to do here. And on Kyle Williams' 72-yard touchdown, TreVeyon Henderson, to be fair, the block wasn't per se critical to the play in the sense that Drake May might have had enough time to still, you know, get the pass off. But still, I like seeing this from TreVeyon Henderson, especially after people, you know, or his early season individual game, I believe it was against the Bills, where he struggled in pass protection. The performance in that game itself wasn't overblown in terms of how poor he was and some of the bad reps, but people are really exaggerating and holding on to a narrative that he is just awful in pass protection because of one game. And this is what a lot of people do. But on here, you're going to get double crossers from Williams and the boundary receiver down here. Williams is going to end up getting the football. But what you're going to get, though, is max protect here. So you're going to have all of these guys blocking. You're going to get a play action fake where you're going to have the fullback blocking. And then Henderson's going to step up as well. And he's going to block Levante David, who is going to eventually come in here and would be it would be a delayed blitz based on the coverage. And it's man, so he's only deciding to blitz once he realizes that Henderson isn't per se going to be running a route immediately. But once again, this is a good rep right here. So you get the play action fake. Now, David is in man coverage right here on TreVeyon Henderson. But so Henderson's going to spot him, step up, attack him, and stonewall him. And while, like I said, you know, Drake May would have had some time to throw this pass regardless. It's not the best pocket, but you could definitely argue that he's had worse as a New England Patriot. But nonetheless, Henderson does his job, takes care of the man in front of him. And then it allows, partially at least, Drake May to be able to get this pass off. You get a nice run by Kyle Williams, and you get a touchdown here. And man, is he fast. He was somebody who I was really high on pre-draft, and I still think has the potential to carve out a role, especially as a deep threat, but I don't think he should be limited to that. But getting back to TreVeyon Henderson, good rep here, stonewalling Levante David. Was going to see if he could make himself available to May if he was in trouble afterwards. But Once again, good play by Drake May, Henderson doing his job in pass pro, and it results in a touchdown by Kyle Williams. And here we have another solid rep of pass pro, because contrary to popular belief, one game in which he did not play well does not mean that he is generally bad at pass protection, right? What we're going to get is a speed out at the top of your screen. You're going to get a vertical route by Williams. You're going to get a flat, and then you're going to get Diggs spotting up right here. As far as what the Buccaneers are doing, it's going to be a heavy blitz. What you're going to get, though, is it should be man coverage throughout. And then this edge is going to back out into a zone. He's going to kind of lean towards Stephon Diggs. Now, the result of this play is going to be a tipped ball that ends up being an incompletion. But, as far as what Henderson's doing, he's doing his job. So they have him lined up right here behind the left guard. He is going to step up in pass pro, and he's going to help stonewall the interior rush, trying to give Drake May as much time as possible, because with this protection, you want to make sure that the middle of the pass rush is unable to get to the quarterback. You want to delay it, give the quarterback as much time as possible. So as far as the defense, though, along this line, everyone from here to here is blitzing, and this guy is going to be free off the edge to hurry Drake May. But with them having these rules in pass protection, it's going to give Drake May the longest amount of time to throw, because this guy has the longest path to be able to get to Drake May. So let's take a look at how he does here. So he steps up, stonewalls right here, and he barely gets any pressure. And so once again, the result of the play isn't something that you desire if you are, a Patriots fan. But as far as TreVeyon Henderson's concerned, he did his job there, once again, in pass protection. And here we have another rep where, if you are just box score watching, you would have said, he didn't do anything with this run either. So what we're going to get from the blocking is you're going to get this receiver working down towards the cornerback. You're going to have everyone along the offensive line blocking down this direction. Then you're going to have your fullback who's going to attempt to get to the second level. And theoretically, Henderson here should, on this toss, have a crease to attack the second and third level of the field, and hopefully, given his home run speed, take it to the house. Unfortunately, that is not going to work, and let me explain why. So, immediately upon the snap, you're going to see that Vita Vea here is going to get intense pressure straight up the middle. So, Henderson has no way to cut this back, but even if he did, there's also a contained defender on this edge, right? Now, Austin Hooper at the top of your screen. This running to the outside of Hooper is not going to be an option because the defender has the leverage here, right? So Henderson is going to, at this stage, have to hope that the fullback is going to be able to get out of his way and, at least give him some space to be able to run, right? Well, that's not going to happen. Instead, what's going to happen is he's going to stop, turn around, see that Vita Vea has penetrated, right? And then he is going to try to help with that, but he's going to get in Henderson's way. So Henderson has nowhere to go. He's going to squeeze past him, though, spin, and try to fight to, at least get back to the line of scrimmage, right? But this is just yet another example of something where, what do you want Henderson to do? There is nothing he can do about this. There's no room. There's immediate penetration because the blocking isn't very good. His own fullback's in his way, and he just has to try to get skinny and spin out to try to at least get back to the line of scrimmage. And on this play, we're going to get another solid rep of pass pro, but we're also going to get some awareness and scramble drill from TreVeyon Henderson, because after he helps chip the edge here, he is going to go out for a route. So as far as what the Patriots are doing, you're going to get Kyle Williams on a vertical route. You're going to get a nasty route here at the bottom where you're going to get a fake out and up, but then it's going to turn into a stop. Then you're going to get Hunter Henry, where he's going to stop up here. You're going to get a little bit of a block and then a delayed flat route. And then Henderson is going to chip before working out. As far as what the Buccaneers are doing, they're going to be in a cover 3. So you're going to have your deep third zones, your hook zones here, and then the safety here is going to act in man coverage with Kyle Williams down the field. Now, the goal of this play would to be potentially to have Hunter Henry here open in this hole in the zone, or potentially one of these deep routes down here. But that's just not going to work. But I like what Henderson does here. So first thing, he is going to work and chip this edge here and help out his tackle, which he does. Good job. That's going to give him some additional time, help the tackle with his leverage. So on this play, Drake May is looking to throw here, except the interior rush has finally gotten in to where he's just not going to have time, or he might have, but he just didn't feel that he had enough time, I think, to hit this with the separation it's going to create, which it is going to create some separation. But he's going to move on, and there's just really not very much open for him. So Henderson is working towards the sideline. Now he's going to do what he should do in scramble drill, where he's going to look to press up vertically and then work towards the sideline to potentially create some space for Drake May. But what he's also doing is he's creating an open space here in the middle of the field so that if Drake May is unable to complete this pass to him or just doesn't wish to, he can run up the field here, right? And so Drake May is just going to take the, couple of yards and just settle for something that's not negative here. But nonetheless, I like what he's doing in pass pro, helping out his tackle chip, and it did help massively. The leverage is just not there for the defensive end there. And then he's just going to work in scramble drill, try to make some space for himself, or at the very least give Drake May an opening to scramble. And so good stuff, high IQ play by Henderson. And here we have another run from Henderson. This is one where I like what he did, and I really wish he would have seen something or potentially had the creativity to try something different. So what you're going to get is initially Hunter Henry going in motion down here. Now what he's going to do is, instead of taking care of an edge that's going to be waiting him, this guy right here, he's going to purposefully slip past him, and it's going to, at the very moment, appear as though it's a play action fake because of that, and cause this end to hesitate, thus giving Henderson the chance to work the crease up here he's going to have. As far as the left side of the line, the sender through left tackle are going to down block there. Then you're going to get these guys trying to work up field. And theoretically, Henderson should have a wide open gap or gash in the defense, I should say, by the looks of this run once you see it, to be able to exploit. But I'll explain what I really wish he might. Well, I'll explain in a minute. So he gets the ball, right? Now, this is what I was talking about with Hunter Henry. What he's going to do is he's going to slip past and not really block the edge here, but what it's going to do is create a natural hesitation here. So the edge has to worry, oh, hey, is this guy going to slip out and score a touchdown and I just let it happen? Well, no, but it gives Henderson the room to be able to work upfield. Now, what I really wish he would have been able to do is see that he has a crease here. So if he could set up his blocks and set up the defenders to work this way, he could have worked a crease up here. But he takes the crease to the right here, and he is going to get positive yardage. He's going to lower his shoulder and try to score the touchdown. But what he's not going to do, and I like that he didn't do, is reach the ball out, because then you leave yourself the opportunity to fumble. But once again, I like the play design. I like the craftiness by Hunter Henry there. And then really, while I would have liked if he had the creativity to set this up to the right and then gash to the left and potentially score, he still got positive yardage. He lowered his shoulder. Good tough finish to the run and way to hold on to the football. Good stuff by Henderson. And finally, the last two plays I'm going to show you are the long touchdown runs by TreVeyon. So what you're going to get is duo again, where you're going to get a double team up front, and then you're going to try to seal here and block down there. And theoretically, Henderson should have a hole somewhere up here. He may have to read it out. It's going to work out for Henderson, though. And on this play, I want you to, first of all, pay attention to how small he's able to get himself, how he's able to squeeze in what is a really small hole while also accelerating incredibly quickly and then showing his home run speed off, right? So this is exactly what I envisioned Henderson at the NFL level. Look at that. Look at the burst. I mean, that is a tiny hole to try to fit through. Look at that. And then, boom, you are not catching this guy. He barely gets tripped up at the end, but obviously he's still able to score a touchdown. This is what we can expect from him in the future. You're going to get these kind of low volume games comparatively to some of the other running backs in the league, but he's going to make up for it with explosion. And I comped not him to Gibbs as, a one-for-one talent. Gibbs is more shifty. I think Gibbs is more explosive. But in the sense of how you utilize somebody like this at the NFL level, you want to give them 10 to 15 carries a game. You want to give them hopefully 3 to 6 or so targets per game. Get them out in space. This is what happens when you give someone as explosive as TreVeyon Henderson a small crease. Man, those strides are so crazy too. And so good stuff by Henderson. And on this last play, we're going to get another toss to Henderson. So what you're going to get is the left side of the line blocking here. You're going to get a good seal by Austin Hooper on this defensive end here. Then you're going to have this nose tackle working out to try to take care of the edge, thus leaving a crease for Henderson around the edge. Now, you'll notice there are no third-level defenders here. There is no safety deep. There are 3 second-level defenders, being the players acting as linebackers here, and a ginormous amount of players on the line here, right? And so this creates an issue for the defense because once Henderson gets past the second level, there is nobody there to contain him, to get to him. And the defender, Winfield, here is going to commit a cardinal sin here in 1 second. So you're going to get the pitch to Henderson. Now, like I mentioned, you're going to get a good seal by Austin Hooper here. You're going to get the pitch. You're going to get the nose tackle working downfield towards Winfield. Winfield is the contained player here. You cannot let somebody to the outside of you. You cannot do it. And so what he's going to do is try to cut into here to stop Henderson from working inside. But in doing so, is going to allow Henderson to be completely uncontained on the outside. And as we all know, you are not catching him in the open field. Good luck with that. And he's even going to look towards his sideline and say, hey, guys, do you want me to score? Do we want to just run out the clock? They're going to tell him to score, so he's just going to go ahead and take it in. But once again, this is what I envision with Henderson. Work him outside. Let him take advantage of his ridiculous burst and long speed. And then, once you commit the cardinal sin of not containing the edge being Winfield here, it's a wrap. Once he gets to the edge, you are not catching him. It does not matter what you try to do. He is gone every single time. He has enough time to slow down, look at his own sideline. Crazy stuff. And it's definitely exciting to finally get one of these big boom games from TreVeyon Henderson. I had him as my RB2 of the class. It hasn't exactly worked out that way so far, but they're all still so young into their NFL careers that I think there's a ton of room for growth from Henderson. I think he's explosive as can be. I think you can use him like a Jahmyr Gibbs, like an Alvin Kamara back in the day, where you kind of limit the volume, but you use him in space and create these explosive plays. And, for us in fantasy football, he can be a Jahmyr Gibbs-like player for us in terms of his output if the team can continue in the future to build along the offensive line, especially. Get a couple more playmakers, hopefully, in terms of the wide receivers. Hopefully we see some growth from Kyle Williams. Stephon Diggs isn't going to be around forever. So I definitely think they need to seriously upgrade the offensive side of the football. But as far as as Henderson is concerned, he's explosive. He can make himself really skinny through a hole, and while accelerating through it, as you saw on that second to last touchdown run, that was insane explosion. And if you own this guy in redraft, don't let him go. He has to have worked himself into a serious committee, and they've seen the results now multiple weeks in a row of getting this guy in space on the outside and seeing what's happened. And if you own this guy in Dynasty and you manage to hold, congratulations to you. I think that, good things are to come in the future for him. I think he's going to be explosive in both the passing game and the run game. And I really do think that you could get, kind of a Jahmyr Gibbs light kind of future from him in fantasy, in the coming years, once hopefully they're able to once again upgrade that offensive line and get a couple playmakers. Drake May is performing at an MVP level. And as long as he's with Drake May and Drake May continues his play, I think we can expect big things from Henderson in the future. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with my assessment? Disagree? And one more thing I wanted to mention is the pass pro. Guys, just because somebody has one bad game in pass protection doesn't mean that he's terrible forever. It doesn't mean that he was terrible before. It just means that he had a bad game in pass protection. It's going to happen. You know, he's on a Mike Vrabel team. He historically does not just give rookies massive roles immediately. He makes you work for it. And Henderson, obviously now, has deservingly gotten some of these touches. Now, it had to come through injury to a degree, but what are you going to do? All you can do is make the most of the opportunities that are given to you. So with that in mind, if you would be so kind and want to subscribe to my Patreon, I would really appreciate it. Because I do these film breakdowns, I'm unable to collect any revenue from YouTube. So if you would like to, I'd really appreciate it. If not, if you could just like and support the channel by subscribing, leaving a comment below, liking the video, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks, guys, and hope you have a good day.